Hey guys, so when I'm teaching one of my math classes, one of the topics that I really enjoy covering is logical arguments. We go through logic tables, and this is inductive reasoning, this is deductive reasoning, but we also go through different types of fallacies, ad hominem, straw man, slippery slope fallacy, okay? And one of the ones we look at is appeal to consequence. So I think I'm going to put an image up there that kind of explains what the appeal to consequence is. I'll read what it says, and I'll kind of elaborate on a little bit. Concluding that a statement or belief must be either true or false based on the consequences it would lead to. The stock market will go up this year. A lot of people would lose money if it didn't. So this could very well be the thing where people do, and maybe it just kind of falls into more wishful thinking at times than an actual argument or a point of view, but where people will say, the results of the screening have to be good, otherwise so-and-so has cancer. I don't know, something like that. Now, I know when I give this, I'm going to show you guys a video, and I know there's going to be some people who are going to see lots of problems with so the video I'm going to show you is a farmer being interviewed, and it's a dairy farmer, and there's a lot of things I could focus in on this video, but I want to focus on one thing specific. So what I want you to do while you're watching this video is think about the whole concept of appeal to consequences.
How many hours does this go on?
It's 24 hours a day.
So you need workers like this year-round?
Yes.
South Dakota dairy farmer Greg Mose supports Donald Trump and his pick of his governor, Kristi Noem, to lead the Department of Homeland Security.
The sheer number of illegal migrants coming into this country has made it so that every state is now a border state.
In this sparsely populated, landlocked state, these three South Dakotans have strong views of their governor and see what a potential Secretary Noem would mean to the rest of the country. The dairy farmer is drawn to what launched Noem into national politics, her pledge of a MAGA-style crackdown on illegal immigration. But it's a tricky issue for Mose. What percentage of your workers are not U.S. born?
Probably half.
About half?
Yeah.
Do you know what the immigration status is of any of your workers?
I don't know.
Do you ask?
Well, can you ask? We have the right papers on file, and they're there is there.
Are you worried if there were a mass roundup of undocumented migrants that you might lose workers? You might not have enough workers.
How are they going to do that? Nobody will be filling the shelves. Nobody will be producing food. Within 2 days, we will not have food. There will not be food anywhere.
2 days?
Yes.
Does Governor Noem understand that?
I would think so. I'm pretty sure.
It sounds like you have a lot of faith that they're not going to do what they're saying.
That's pretty much what I'm thinking. So we have to trust in our officials that are put in place.
Okay, so what you have here is this guy. He is a Trump supporter, and he owns a dairy farm, and he has a lot of workers who are foreign workers. Let's keep it a buck. There's probably a lot of undocumented workers working for this guy. He's not going to say it in front of the camera, right? But he says if you were to if you were to deport all these people, basically the agriculture industry in the United States would fall apart. Here are the numbers, guys, and 42%. It's estimated by the USDA that about 42% of all the workers in the U.S. that work in agriculture are undocumented. And then on top of that, about 2/3 of agricultural workers are foreign born. So even if you look at that roughly 20%, so only like you basically of your foreign born, think of it this way. So you have 2/3 of your workers are foreign born. So of that 2/3 that are foreign born, I guess if I'm just kind of doing the numbers in my head, that would be 60% are foreign born, 42% are undocumented. So basically, like, yeah, about a third of all the only a third of all the foreign-born workers are actually documented workers, right? All right, getting bogged down in the numbers. So several questions with this. Well, the first thing I want to say is he's a Trump supporter. And if you didn't vote for the things Trump said he was going to do, then what did you vote for? Because all you have left at that point is just the hateful rhetoric. I just want to acknowledge that, because there's going to be some people who watch this video and say, shouldn't you acknowledge that? You know what I know what's going underlining, but I don't want to focus on that just now. The thing I want to focus on is how it seems to me, and maybe this is just kind of a realization to me, there seems to be a lot of people who voted for Trump. Their motivation for voting for him, I'm not going to get into that. I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole. But even the things where we can point out where these things can lead to negative consequences, whether it's putting a 25% tariff on imported goods. There's so many policies which can be disastrous, right? I think what happens for a lot of people is when you have the other side, or anybody for that matter, even a neutral party, not necessarily the other side, but even within their own party, Republicans saying this could be a disastrous. I mean, think of the recent Hegseth being confirmed as Secretary of Defense. And we say these are the outcomes of this. Having an inexperienced alcoholic as the leader of the largest bureaucratic organization in the world, what could be the consequence of that? I think what a lot of people are doing they're kind of thinking like, look, it's not just the consequence of that thing happening. Like the farmer in that video sitting there saying, hey, he can't do that because think of the damage it would do to the agriculture industry. Kristi Noem couldn't support this because she has to know the damage that would have on the agriculture industry. But I think it goes even one step further. I think what they have to also come to grip, or they're kind of the consequences of that is, if he is willing to do these things, not only does it have the devastating consequences on the economy, on the American people, but it also means that the consequence is you voted for a complete idiot, that you were sold a bill of goods, you were lied to. Either one, you were completely lied to, and the person was just telling you whatever BS he wanted to, tell you to get in that position, or that person's a complete idiot and don't realize the consequences of it. Honestly, I think it's more of the former than the latter, as much as we would like to point out how stupid Trump is, because quite frankly, he really doesn't care about people. And he doesn't really care about the consequences of what happens to the people, because there's a shielding to them. So these people in power are shielded by that. So what I want to do is I want to show one more video where I think Donald Trump in this video is in Western North Carolina, maybe in the Asheville area.
Of any of the congressmen, governor, anybody?
Sir, they even signed an executive order on FEMA, getting rid of it. Can you say more about signing an executive order to get rid of FEMA, please?
FEMA has been a very big disappointment. They cost a tremendous amount of money. It's very bureaucratic, and it's very slow. Other than that, we're very happy with them. Okay, and I think when there's a problem with the state, I think that problem should be taken care of by the state. That's what we have states for. They take care of problems. And a governor can handle something very quickly. One of the things I've noticed, because I've been doing this for a while, and we had a pretty good FEMA, but I also noticed that when they come, they end up in arguments. They're fighting all the time over who does what. It's just not a good system. This system is so beautifully designed over 250 years approximately, and we'll soon be celebrating the 250th year. It's going to be a very big celebration. But it's been designed very well, and we're going to leave it that way. When North Carolina, South Carolina, Florida, Tennessee, when everybody knows the governor of Tennessee, I think, everybody? Do you know everybody here, pretty much?
Okay, so what's the deal with that? So basically, Donald Trump says he wants to end FEMA. And some of the things Donald Trump says, or a lot of the things Donald Trump says about FEMA, you could make the argument of that. I'm actually in a state that a couple of months ago, I don't know if we still have FEMA present, but we were hit by the area I live in. It's not North Carolina, but we were affected by the hurricane, and we had FEMA workers here. And it's kind of some truths and some lies with that. FEMA works very close with local government. He's just kind of, saying Donald Trump lies. You either are 100% aware of that, or you just, you don't think Orange Daddy can do no wrong. But yeah, FEMA works very close with local government for those reasons. They don't know the area. They don't know the needs of the area. But FEMA's a bureaucracy. What it makes me think of is the CIA post or pre 9/11, where the CIA was supposed to be the central intelligence agency, and you had, I cannot remember the total number of intelligence groups the U.S. has. I know someone watching this video will probably be able to spit out right away like there's 12. There's a lot of intelligence agencies, the NSA, the Department of Defense, and then even different law enforcement groups, federal intelligence agencies. But the idea is that the original purpose of the CIA was to be where you get all the country's intelligence and combine it, and where they can all coordinate with each other. And then it didn't work in that function. That was one of the deficits of American intelligence. But the answer isn't you just destroy the CIA. Well, you could arguably say destroy the CIA for different reasons, but you wouldn't destroy the Central Intelligence organizing group. You would say maybe we need to just rebuild the thing from the top up, or from the bottom up, excuse me. So with FEMA, maybe you do need to redesign it from the bottom up, but you wouldn't destroy it. Because here is what I think is going to happen with this. When it says it's up to the states, on the surface, that seems like we're going to empower the states. But what's going to probably happen is most of the responsibility of building and funding and doing this and recovering from disasters is going to be led to the states, and the states aren't going to be able to afford it. And the government may say something like, we'll reimburse you, or we'll cover 50% of it. But here's just the plain truth of it, is that most states aren't going to be able to afford that. I'll show you another map here, and this map shows you, and there's tons of maps like this, and this is kind of the best one I could find, I think, even though it's a few years old. I think it's dated back to 2019, but roughly you have those same results now, where it shows how much of a state's revenue goes to the government versus how much they receive from the government. And the majority of states receive more money from the government than they put in. And if you notice, the states that receive most of their money from the government, they are what's considered red states, right? So how are those states going to be able to handle themselves in terms of a disaster? And one thing I want to point out, like where you have Florida is one of these states that pays more to it than they receive. But the thing about it is that if you look at the industry of Florida, where you have like real estate, agriculture, tourism, those things are really sensitive to the adverse weather, which is going to, and I know some people, they don't believe in climate change, and you can believe in your religion and believe in your sports team. Science isn't a matter of belief. It just is what it is. Meanwhile, some of the other states like California clearly has some of its environmental issues with its agriculture and whatnot. But then again, California is not always claiming that the federal government is bad. So Trump makes that comment, this is what states are for. Well, no, this is what the federal system is for, where we all help one another. So I think what people are going to realize is that in their mind, they're like, Trump wouldn't leave us high and dry. He wouldn't do this. But here's the thing, guys. It's not going to be just get rid of FEMA. It's going to be states you're on your own, and you're not going to be able to fund it. And maybe even we remove FEMA and we put this in the responsibility of for-profit organizations that do not have the resources to really even do the job, the poor job that FEMA is doing. But despite that, they can still enrich themselves with government contracts. And also on top of that, when the states are devastated by these environmental catastrophes, you have people who can do speculative real estate, or exploiting the emergency, and they're going to swoop in and just buy land that's been devastated, because the people who once lived there, there's no longer an organization or any entity to help them rebuild their homes, rebuild the infrastructure, and then they're forced to leave. The good old shock doctrine. Anyway, put your opinion in the comment section, and please don't say something stupid, people. If you say dumb things, I will remove your comment. I don't practice the First Amendment in my comment section. Thank you.